Happy Friday, everybody.
You picked
Danny
any
Dustin.
day other than Friday.
I would not have. I knew it's Friday. Everybody knows when a Friday's here. It's here, baby. And it's a long weekend for a lot of folks,
Including us.
including us.
We don't always get all those.
We're celebrating the presidents. We're celebrating
Should
the
we?
presidents moving forward. Yeah. Yes.
Should we, though?
Yeah, I believe we should. The good, the bad, and the very ugly, which is most of
we
them.
should have two holidays. One where we celebrate the good and another holiday for when we laugh at the bad.
That's the other 364 days out of the year.
But we don't get them off.
I have problems with politics and just where they are. And this is not the time or the place for that.
Oh,
It's just awful. But everybody just points fingers and bitches and doesn't
I
get
have
anything
my political
done.
take.
It sucks.
My political take has been this for a while now. This is me being hipster about
Yeah.
it. I hate all of your politics. Yes, all of you listening.
Yeah, go ahead.
All of you.
Yeah.
All of your politics suck.
Yeah, get us done.
Yeah.
How about we do that? How about we start there?
Right, left, middle,
Yeah.
far right, far left. I don't care. Your politics suck.
But I'll celebrate the presidents. That's a hard job. That's a really hard job.
Can we go back to the point where people don't want to be president? I would very much like it if that were the case.
I think that's why we're in the position that we are right now.
Too many people that want to be
Everybody's
president
like,
should.
No, they're like, I don't want to do this. I'm not doing that.
Then don't.
Yeah, well, that's the problem.
Hector Macho Camacho, go back to your real
there
world.
we go. There we go. I've other news. The Oregon State Senate Committee yesterday overwhelmingly approved a plan that's going to do away with the switch from standard daylight savings time.
Wait.
From standard to daylight savings time.
Oh, yes.
So
Would quit celebrate or observing daylight savings time.
Yeah.
Okay. So
So
the
apparently-
phrasing of that was a little off.
no, that's what it is, though. It's just what it is. It is the eliminating the switch from standard to daylight savings time. And so if the bill passes, basically what this is we're not going to stay on daylight savings time. We're going to stay on standard time, which apparently you can do.
Arizona and Hawaii.
Yeah. But you have to get more wide sweeping approval if you want to stay on daylight savings time. So basically what happens here is in June, we'll have sunrises at around 4:30 a.m.
Okay. But it also means the sun won't stay out until 10:30.
Yeah. We'll have sunset at like 8:30 instead of 9:30. Yeah. Which was always a cool part about being a kid, though, is being out, way too late, but the sun was still out. But what it won't do is it won't change anything in the winter. So basically November to February,
It's all the same.
we stay the same.
Yep.
Sun goes down at like 4:27. Everything, like, we don't have to worry about it being dark at like 8 o'clock in the morning. We will have basically like it is right now, except for the sun's going to come up way earlier. So you got to get your blackout shades. That's the moral of the story here.
There you go.
That's more, but we talked about this earlier in the week. We talked about, all right, let's just get away with one of them.
Let's not be dumb about this.
Yeah. And so this is the one that you can do. You can say you can stay on standard time, and that's okay. So it'll be, apparently, if it passes, not just the advisory committee, but the state, House, and Senate, then it'll go to the governor, and then the governor can sign it into law, where we're getting closer to joining Arizona and Hawaii. Arizona, Florida light, and Hawaii makes sense. They're close to the equator. They don't need daylight savings
not a
time.
whole lot of stuff going on there.
They don't need that change in time when you're that close
It is
to
a
the
little.
equator.
It will be a little bit of change, being above the 45th parallel.
Yeah.
That
And this
we'll tweak some things.
is a great point on the Vancouver Ford text line. All this means is early tea times. We got early tea times.
That means those morning tea times are going to be nice.
Morning tea times at like 4:30 in the morning. It's going to be like fishermen and golfers out that early.
The olds.
They're backing up the tee boxes earlier.
Hey,
But this also means you won't be able to get those after work rounds in
that's
quite as late.
true.
But I mean, 8:30, that's a good run. That's a good run. You can't get 18 in after work. You can get 9 plus.
yeah, those midsummer runs for the twilight, air quotes, golf rates, those were some of the best deals you could find.
Well, now those would just be the early birds. And so you can go out, though, if you start at 9, you could feasibly get one of those 4:30 tee times, and if you're hoofing it, if you're going, you can get 18 in. You'll get your 18 in, and you'll be to work by 9. Give you a 4-hour round with 30 minutes of wiggle room to get to work.
It's not too bad. That's
You
not
could
too
do
bad.
it. You could get the early bird round in, but I don't know if you want that because that
Well,
day
I mean, I
either.
will never do it.
Well, obviously, you just won't go to sleep. You'll just go. you have crackhead hours.
It's true.
But what you'll be able to do is either start your day with like, "Hey, had a great round. What a great start to the day," or you're just gonna be pissed off all day long. And like, there's one of two ways that this can take
Just
you.
dwelling on that 14th.
That's right. The implosion hole that happens, that'll just stew all day long. Or it'll be a great day at work. Either way. I don't let golf affect me like that. I like in the moment, I'll get upset at
What's
myself.
it like to be soulless?
But then I will sit there and I'll go, I'm not good enough at golf to get mad. Because I'm not. I'm not good enough at golf to
Where's
get
the
mad.
fun in that?
Oh, it helps you a lot. Mental
Does it?
health is important. Yeah. I mean, that is something that it used to just eat me up. I used to get really mad. Now I get mad for a couple of minutes and I'm like, all right, screw it. Well, who am I? I'm not Tiger. Actually, I am more like Tiger Woods on 18 than anything else. Do you see his shot off the tee?
Yeah, that thing went smack into the trees.
The old
Buddy.
Shankopotamus.
Buddy. I have that shot in my bag. Me
Yeah.
and Tiger have that one in common.
Opened up that club face, baby. I've seen that one before.
That's right. That's right.
Come on down to X Golf Vancouver and watch me do it.
Yeah. P1 Farhad, I lived in a zone without daylight savings time. It feels weird and bright at 4 a.m. Yeah, that'll be weird.
Like I said, I did the North Dakota thing, and I think they had daylight savings, but just because of how far north you are, you get the weird early sunrise and the very early sunset.
So what are they going to do in what is like this text says,
Alaskas of the world.
fun time zone fact, you can fly from Ontario, Oregon to Pensacola, Florida and cross only one time zone because Pensacola is in the central time zone.
And Ontario's
So,
in mountain.
time. What are they going to do with like Ontario and Vail and those cities that are in Oregon but on mountain time? They just stay samesies.
Probably.
They just stay.
I would imagine.
Or do they join us now?
Maybe they let them pick and choose, because if you look at like the
That's not good for business.
Well, no,
We're gonna pick and choose.
if you go look, no, it's weird.
What is Orida gonna do in this situation?
If
When are
you
our
look at
potatoes
the,
going out?
California Arizona border at the time zones, like there's like certain pockets in Arizona that you can see like the time zone kind of like takes a little jump over, a little
Yeah.
jaunt, and
Yeah.
then back into California.
Yeah,
It's
like in Ontario here or up in
Yeah.
Washington, and Coeur d'Alene is not mountain time.
Yeah, but
They
it's
are
like-
Pacific
yeah, and it's like, but
because they want to keep a quote unquote metropolitan area on the same.
Here's my question:
Clock.
why is it harder for us to change to daylight savings time and stay on daylight savings time than it is to stay on standard time? Has anybody answered that for us?
no.
Closest thing I can think
Because
of,
that's why they're doing it this way, is because it's harder to make the change to.
because when they did something in 2019 proposing to remain on daylight savings time permanently,
Yes.
they had to get Washington and California on board and agree to it by like the year 2029, and it looked like that wasn't going to happen. So, yeah, but apparently this is the easier way to do it.
Also, very important.
The path of least resistance.
on the Vancouver Ford text line. This will give Danny more hours of dark in the summer nights when he can bury his bodies undetected.
That is actually a great point. That's
Also-
a great point. Noted.
We don't bury, guys. We go to the ocean.
Oh my gosh. Again. Again. Again.
We don't leave evidence.
How do you get away with it if you tell everybody ahead of time?
Do you know how big the ocean is?
Yeah.
I'm not going to put it in a garbage bag like Dexter.
Oh my gosh. But do we want later? Because I love the fact that we have sun late at
You
night.
want to stay on the other
See,
one.
yeah,
I
would
want
rather-
I want daylight savings time.
So you want
Standard,
you
get
want
outta here.
black in the winter.
Yeah, I don't mind that.
Ooh, buddy, I'm telling you, as somebody who has done that for long periods of time, it's not fun.
Have you looked outside like lately? It's
would-
dark anyways.
You don't see the sun.
Sure we do.
No, it goes down at like 3. It's tough.
I'm all right with that.
No,
I'm all right with that.
it's
I can handle that.
It's tough.
Wait, no, it'll
No.
stay later
Yeah.
longer.
You're-
no,
yeah.
that's you're
I'm
wrong
sorry,
on
no,
that.
the other way around.
It'll be
Mornings-
dark early in the morning, like
Yes.
8 o'clock in the morning. Like kids
still
will be
dark.
going to school in the dark.
Yes.
Yeah, kids go to school in the dark on that, which that's okay.
You're in a fog
It gives
anyways.
me more sun at night during the summer. I'm okay with, or in the winter and the summer. I'm okay with all of it. We could stay up later. I think this does go back to your bodies. I think that texture was way too right. He hit it far too square on the head, and now we're knowing why Danny's like, no, I want the clocks to stay. We'll go an hour forward, an hour back. We're gonna be
I
okay.
don't want to
with it.
move my circadian rhythm just so I have to work harder to hide the bodies.
Yeah.
I have no circadian rhythm. Let's be honest. I have the worst sleep cycle known to man. There is a 4-hour window.
I know you got no rhythm.
That's true. Bow, bow, bow.
Yeah.
Seriously, there's a 4-hour window that I will go to sleep in.
What's that 4-hour window?
11:30 to 3:30.
That's not healthy.
No,
That's not healthy.
no, it's not.
You should change that.
Yeah, I try. Doesn't ever work.
But we should try harder. We should try harder. We need to send you to sleep school. Like, you need to be housebroken. I think what I've learned in the year and a half that we've been doing shows together, Danny needs to be housebroken. We've learned pungent food on planes is apparently okay by you.
We just need to start keeping a rolled up newspaper in there to swat him on the nose when he gets out of line.
Yeah. Go to bed. Be a good boy. Go to bed. Who's a good boy?
Who's a good boy?
Who's a good boy?
And the problem is,
And then the whole killing thing.
Yeah,
I mean, that's like a dog's.
That's a tougher thing to break. It's in my natural nature. Okay.
The whole admitting to crimes thing, like that's a dog that you're getting in the garbage, you're chewing up the shoes, like you're doing all of it, and it's like one me, and you sit there and you give us the puppy dog eyes, and we're like, it's okay.
Yeah.
He doesn't know any better.
He's just coming out and taking a dump in the middle of the floor while locking eyes with you. That's what he's really doing. Just what are you going to do about it?
It's in my nature.
Like, I just have this vision of Danny just scooting his butt on the ground on the carpet.
God.
Yeah, let's get.
Hardwood floors make that difficult.
Yeah. When's the last time you went to bed before 11:30?
Well, I did it when I was sick. But,
Yeah.
But outside of that, the only times I go to bed before 11:30 is just something's wrong.
Yeah, you'll get that. Like, you'll get housebroken by children.
Probably.
If that happens and you guys decide you're going to go down that road, then
Yeah.
I think that's when you're going to start, like, it breaks you. Because you got to get, like, you learn, it's
In
like the
so many
military. You
ways.
sleep when you can.
Yeah.
You sleep when you can.
My brain just doesn't turn off. Like I am somebody who does function better at night. I figured that out in the military. I didn't really know that when I was a little bit younger, but I found out that I am someone who functions better at the night or in the night.
Maybe this time change will fix that. Maybe it'll help. Maybe that'll help you.
There you go.
We're all just looking for answers here.
There you go.
We're just looking for
I like
answers. We're looking for answers. All right. I grew this text on the Vancouver Ford text line, 503-864-6326. Your dollar goes further at Vancouver Ford. They treat you right before, during, and after the sale. Visit them online at vancouverford.com. I grew up in Alaska. You guys don't know darkness.
Yeah.
Ew.
That's kind of what I was hinting at. Like
don't
North
want
Dakota's
that
bad.
noise.
Like you go further up and it gets sideways real quick. I did that for survival school, winter survival school up there. Nah, that's not a whole lot of fun.
Good movie, Insomnia. Pacino, Robin Williams, Hilary Swank.
Yeah.
Gosh. You know who did dark movies awesome is Robin Williams.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, what's a
what was
1
the
hour
other one?
photo?
1 hour photo.
1 hour
Yeah.
photo.
Further. 1 hour further.
You
1
and I
hour
think in the
fritters?
Boners Rewards program.
Well,
That had that Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania
Yeah.
Dutch going on. 1 hour further.
You want to go get some water? Water and fooders? But 1 hour photo, the Insomnia, and then like
Mrs. Doubtfire.
Toys.
Toys was, yeah. had
Toys.
a
Oh,
good
that's
time.
right.
Toys was a movie that I remember seeing when I was a kid, and I was like, I don't get this, but I don't like it.
It's awkward.
And then there was
He
the
did
other
it
one
really good.
to
Mrs. Doubtfire is dark too.
more like dark comedy. It was him and Ed Norton. God,
Fight Club.
he played like a
Not Fight Club.
not Fight Club.
Oh, that's
God,
Brad
Robin
Pitt.
Williams.
Oh,
He played like a children's like
Swap out Brad Pitt for Robin Williams in that movie, and that movie gets very different very quickly.
he played like a children's show character, like a Barney type.
Yeah.
Death
Oh,
to Smoochie.
yes.
Oh,
Death
yeah.
to Smoochie.
I'm starting to think now, all of the Hollywood actors who want to get cut for a movie asking for the Robin Williams instead of the Brad Pitt. Because all of the there's always been all these like trainers in Hollywood. Every time I see the behind the scenes for movies, they're always like, "Yeah, we get it. You want to look like Brad Pitt in Fight Club." No, you can't look like Brad Pitt in Fight Club. But just imagine if it was Robin Williams.
sure you
could
can.
look like Robin Williams in Fight Club.
With enough HGH, anything is possible.
It's true. My favorite thing in Hollywood is the number of actors like, no, I didn't really take anything. It's like The Rock and Chris Hemsworth. And like, buddy, your blood is synthesized. So what are we doing here? It's not yours. We know it's not. You can't get that big without it. Very weird. Now I just have a picture of Robin Williams' big furry chest, shirtless in a basement in Fight Club, dancing with his face bleeding, laughing maniacally.
That would be.
Ooh, that's my next Halloween costume.
I'm Robin Williams in Fight Club.
They're like, what is Robin Williams? Right? You wouldn't understand. That's a deep cut. You got to be a P1. That's from back in February. I've been planning this costume for a while. It's been 8 months in the making.
Shirtless and hairy. What are you gonna do?
And just sweaty. You got to be like just glistening.
Trust me, that's not an issue with me.
All right.
Also, real quick on the Vancouver Ford text line, you know they have drugs and medicine to help you with the problem so you can sleep. Yeah, I took those and they made me sleepwalk and do things in my sleep that I don't remember. So yeah, not a fan of that stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, they people don't know that like Ambien and what's the other one, Zolpidem, they were developed for the military, and they used us as lab rats with that stuff. And yeah, people went suicidal. So no, I don't take that stuff.
Well, okay. Hear me out on this, though.
Well, what, I should go suicidal? What?
No. No, not that.
Suicidal. Hear me
Not
out,
that.
though.
Now, hear me out on
me
this.
out.
Okay, but hear me out on this, Danny. Back to the sleepwalking. You just rig your house with a bunch of cameras, and you could,
Content?
you could just you could become a YouTube content creator of you just sleepwalking around your house, stepbrother style, throwing pillows in the oven.
It's kind of funny. We did talk about this off air.
You could
a
do
couple
that.
days ago. I did have like tendencies when I would take this stuff. It didn't like put the pillows in the oven or anything like that, but I would walk the same path. I don't remember. Like I would not remember it at all. Like people would like.
Your only Dan's would be amazing
It's true.
at that point.
We could have multiple offerings: the sleepwalking and the feet pics.
Gross. All right. Hey, let's do radio as if we weren't already.
Yeah.
Hey, Cabo on 3, the good, the bad, and the ugly from the final night before the All-Star break. Hey, and great news coming out of it. Danny and Dusty on the Fan. That's a good drop to have. I like that. Everybody talks to a dog like that.
Damn right.
If you don't know, you're a psycho. If you don't do that, like, cause something's wrong with you.
Yeah.
Like you talk to your dog like it's a normal person. That's fine. But when he's a good boy, you go be a good boy. And even if it's a girl, he's a good girl, good boy. It's all the same. Who's a good boy? You know who's been a good boy for the Blazers?
Who?
Duhop Reith.
Yeah!
He's been a really good boy for the Blazers, and the Blazers rewarded him.
Look, I'm supposed to be objective and honest and or fair and all these things. I'm happy for Wap.
Hey, he's
Wap's
got
such a good dude, and escaping from war-torn Sudan, the stuff that he's had to go through refugee camps and growing up in Australia, playing in all over the world.
all over the
Playing in
world.
Jordan, playing in China.
He's played in Lebanon, China,
Oh, sorry, Lebanon, not Jordan.
Serbia,
Yeah.
Australia,
Yeah, no, dude has chased it.
and
He's had,
America.
yeah, he's had 4 different opportunities in Summer League. And he has said that this was kind of his last chance. And it was very clear at Summer League, like, this is an NBA player. Like, it was, when you're kind of all down there, like, dude, this guy can play. Like, where has this guy been? And it was like, Lebanon. That's where he's coming from. It's like, wait, what?
Look, and that is one of the things where you sit there and you go, some guys are just, you have to grind for a lot longer. And a lot of guys give it up. And they say it's not working. They have all those knocks go against you. Things aren't going your way. And
Or you go get your overseas
Boom.
check and call it good.
Duhop Reith has done an incredible job of continuing to grow his game. And he may be a 28-year-old rookie, but the Blazers signed him to a standard 3-year deal. And I'm assuming it's for league minimum,
It'll be above that.
just a little bit a hair above
It'll
it.
be above that. So the Blazers had their MLE because they didn't use it at all. And after trading for Banton, they had, by my math, about $3.2 million to play with. I would imagine he probably got about 3 of that.
That's good. I mean, and that is
That allows for like likely bonuses that the Blazers might have to still carry over and not get hit with the tax.
and I think like this is exactly what Duhop Reith is. He is a guy that he can be a rotational player.
Yeah, he's a solid backup big.
You do not want him to be a focal point of your team, and you're not paying him that way.
No.
You're getting him on a good deal. You committed to him, and he's reciprocating in kind because
You
there
gave him
would
the
be
opportunity.
teams that would be
Yes.
going after him. They wouldn't be giving him like $10 or $15 million, but there would be competition for the Blazers
Yes.
to sign him in that $3 to $6 million range or whatever it
Yeah.
may be.
I know
for-
multiple teams that would have been interested in chasing him in free agency this
And
season.
so you have a guy who, for the next 3 years, you get him in he'll be 31 when this deal expires. And you can go, all right, if you do well in this, we'll give you, a couple more years and reward you a little bit more. It's a smart move by the Blazers. I'm glad that they did it when they did in Duhop Reith. That's awesome. And I think it shows you a little bit about how he feels about Portland.
Yep.
And
There's some loyalty there because he did get the opportunity with the Trailblazers.
that's cool.
And the Blazers have been working on this for a while. And I had heard that there was a little bit of fear that they may not be able to get it done because he had been playing so well. Because for Wap in his age, he was going to, if he didn't get this deal, he was going to go to free agency and there were going to be multiple suitors. And the Blazers, they could have been left standing. But the Blazers gave him that opportunity, and Wap is, if not anything, loyal. And I think he recognized that the Blazers did give him this opportunity, and from very early on, and the Blazers were able to get this deal done. And this is smart business for both sides, in my opinion. Could Wap have gotten maybe more money in free agency? Unsure, but I would lean towards probably. Now, the money hasn't been disclosed, but I have a general idea of what it was.
Well, yeah, and it'll be interesting to see the structure of it too, and what the pay, if there's player options or team options
or guarantees or anything. in between.
all of that stuff that can go into it when you have
It's
a
not
guy who's
gonna
a
be a big deal.
28-year-old rookie.
And it's not going to be a big deal in the grand scheme of things, but it'll allow for certain maneuvers for both the team and for WAP and kind of how those things line up. But it's just good. It's a good deal for both, and I'm happy to see WAP get this deal.
Well, and after the Blazers getting their asses handed to them last night, you can go into the All-Star break on a little bit of brighter note.
Oh,
Right?
yeah, that was over early. Sweet fancy Moses.
It was over
44
early,
to 14.
and then it wasn't, and then it was.
They did. They kept fighting.
They battled back, man. And
But you saw Minnesota came out and they were like, we're not playing with our food.
No.
And they sent a damn message. When Ant Edwards has one fewer point than the Blazers as a team after the first quarter, you're like, not going to be a great night.
Yeah, no.
44-14.
It was,
Yikes.
and the thing is, this was not a, wow, the Blazers are playing terrible. It was, this Minnesota team's really good. Really good. Now,
the Blazers weren't playing well.
No, but I think that they're not playing well was more about what Minnesota was doing to them than what the Blazers weren't doing.
And I think that this kind of goes to, and there's rightfully so, a lot of negativity surrounding the Blazers right now. They're not good.
They've won 15 games in the All-Star break.
It's not a fun thing to be a fan of a team like this, but what we saw last night is what we've been seeing over the course of this entire season. They keep fighting, and they're playing hard. And I think that is a bunch of guys that are not just pushing their chips to the middle and saying, all right, we're done. We're either going to win this hand or lose it. They keep scratching, clawing, and they get their stack built up a little bit over the course of the game. And then, look, at the end of it, they don't have depth.
They just don't
and they don't have
horses.
playmakers.
Yeah.
And boom, they end up losing at the end. They're fighting, though. They're fighting.
We did get more news out of last night. Those Scoot's starting now.
How long are we going to have that for?
I think probably the rest of the season.
You think that's going to be a full-on move forever? Because he looked comfortable coming off the bench.
He did, and he looked a little disjointed in his first shift, which I think has probably helped contribute to that first quarter. But I thought the rest of the game he played very solid.
He did. He played all right. All right.
So.
And that's talking Blazers. Because there's drama elsewhere in the league by teams that are of consequence and that matter. And one that pertains to the Portland Trail Blazers because they hold Golden State's first-round pick this year. And they may have pushed the right button last night. We'll get to that next. Danny and Dusty. Here is Jeffrey Russ, who's a good boy with SportsCenter.
Now, from the Spirit Mountain Casino Sports Desk, a SportsCenter update on 1080 The Fan.
This update brought to you by Vulcan Design and Construction. Check out their award-winning outdoor living designs or schedule your free design consultation at vulcandc.com. First on The Fan, the Trailblazers wrapped up the first half of the season on the wrong end of a beginning-to-end whooping at the hands of the West Best Timberwolves. They enter the break at 15-39. That is the fifth worst record in the association. ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski reporting the Blazers signing two-way center Duop Reeves to a new 3-year standard NBA contract. Woj also reporting the Wizards and DeLon Wright have agreed to a buyout. That clears the way for the guard to sign with the Heat after clearing waivers. Raiders quarterback Jimmy Garoppolo has been suspended 2 games for violating the league's performance-enhancing substance policy for using a prescribed medication without having a valid therapeutic use exemption. He will not appeal and will miss the first 2 games of the season, although he's not expected to return to the Raiders. Round 2 of the Genesis Invitational from Riviera Country Club. Patrick Cantlay, he eagled his first hole of the day. He is 2 under through 3. That puts him at 9 under overall. 1 stroke clear of Luke List, Jason Day, and Tom Hoagie. Scotty Scheffler, 6 under par. That's alongside Jordan Spieth, also at 6 under. Ricky Fowler is 3 under. Tony Finau, 3 under par. Former Oregon Duck Wyndham Clark tied for 30th at 2 under. And Tiger Woods is 1 under on the day. That leaves him even overall, tied for 47th. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Jeff Rust, the Spirit Mountain Casino Sports Desk. Spirit Mountain Casino is the place to watch and wager on pro and college games every week. Learn more at spiritmountain.com.
One number does it all for contests and texting your favorite fan shows. The Vancouver Ford text line is 503-864-6FAN.
3 games in the NBA last night, and all of them had a little Portland flavor to them. Obviously, the Blazers getting absolutely smashed by the Timberwolves. Then you
That
had
happened.
Damian Lillard and the Milwaukee Bucks falling to the Memphis Grizzlies of all team.
And Dame had a pretty poor performance.
It wasn't good.
New 7 of 21, 3 of 13 from 3.
And Doc Rivers came out firing in the postgame.
We come back in this on our set. 2 guys forget what we're running. Then we miss a shot, and then nobody gets back. That's how we start out the third quarter. That tells you all you need to know about where our heads were. We had some guys here, and we had some guys in Cabo.
Third quarter, they were outscored 37-28 and end up losing 113-110 to the Memphis Grizzlies. And now they fall to 3-7 in the 10 games that Doc Rivers has coached. But I think more jarring than just a 3-7 start for a team that they were in a little bit of disarray under Adrian Griffin, but they were still winning games at a pretty impressive clip, is the fact that 3 of those 7 losses have come to Portland, Utah, and Memphis, which are a combined 44 games under 500.
Good God, that's a lot of.
34 games under 500, I
Okay,
think. 34 games under
That's
500.
better. I was like, oh, good God, is it that? No?
No, I think it is 44,
44.
actually.
Yeah,
it's
no, it's
44
44
games
They
because
just
the
did them.
Blazers are 15-39.
Yeah, let's say.
Grizzlies are 20-36, and the Jazz are 26-30. Yeah, it's 44. Holy crap!
And the Grizzlies, again, are the team that beat the Bucks last night. And, Chauncey Billups last night in the post game said, hey, we looked at this Timberwolves team like week before the game, like, that you can catch some teams looking ahead to the break, going home. That's a normal thing. And the Blazers really, in the Damian Lillard era, this is when they capitalized. This is when they made their runs. Was
Start pouncing.
They'd make 7-8 games before the All-Star break. They'd go on a tear because you'd catch some teams sleeping. You'd catch some teams looking ahead to the break. Portland would lock in, and then they'd make that big run every year post All-Star break because it was like, all right, it's winning time. And you saw Minnesota go, no, it's winning time. This Bucks team, from everything I keep hearing, is that behind the scenes, Doc Rivers is pushing the right buttons, that he's throwing everyone, all of their business out in film sessions. Whether it's Dame, whether it's Giannis, whether it's Chris, whether it's Brooke, no one is immune to getting called out. And, I mean, you hear what Doc said there, the whole, how do you not know what we're running? 2 guys don't know the set?
That's inexcusable.
Like, and people are like, well, that's the coach's job. No, the coach's job is to tell you what the set is you're running. As a professional, you're supposed to know what the hell you're supposed to run. And I get so tired of coaches getting blamed for stuff that falls on the bleeping players.
Oh, absolutely.
It's like the coach said, here's the set. Here's what we're running. Here's what we're drawing up. Got it? Good. Let's go run it. The expectation is if you're a title contending team, you don't have a brain fart in the next 13 seconds from the walk from the bench to the floor.
Well, how much are we putting on the lack of defense in their backcourt that they have, though? I mean, Dame, he's going to know what he's doing.
Yeah.
But you look at the way that they're losing these games. I mean, he hasn't been efficient this year.
No, his shooting is down.
And then he and Malik Beasley are below average defenders.
Yeah, and the thing is, the way I understand it is, Malik Beasley was promised a starting job to come to the Bucks for the vet minimum before they traded for Dame. So they're kind of stuck. And everyone's like, well, you just tell them no. That's not how this works. It's not how this works. Carmelo Anthony was guaranteed 15 shots a night and 30 minutes a night with the Portland Trailblazers. When you make those promises, you have to stand by them. You can't go against them without either major concessions or major ramifications, because these agents, the players may come and go, those agents stay.
Yeah.
And when you cross those lines and now it gets out in the basketball world that you don't stand by your word, it will fry
But
your
then
team.
it comes to a point, though, where you can no longer say this is feasible anymore.
And I think that's what Doc's trying to do.
Does Doc Rivers say, this is not working when Vince Williams and Jordan Goodwin are
Gigi Jackson is the one that did them up.
But-
again,
but those two guys are sitting there and they combined to go 12 of 23 from the field, the two guards in the backcourt, and you're like, we need to be better there.
and it was almost all at the rim.
We need to be better there. This isn't John Morant in the Memphis Grizzlies.
And Desmond Bain.
Yeah, this is Vince Williams, Jordan Goodwin,
Yeah,
and
real
then
quick.
Gigi Jackson.
This isn't John Morant, Desmond Bain, and Jaren Jackson Jr. and Steven Adams and Dylan Brooks. All 5 of those guys from last year are gone right now.
They're gone.
All 5.
They're losing to bad teams.
Yeah.
And that is a problem.
And
And how long can you go with that before you pull the ripcord and
Now.
you say, we can't do it anymore? You
Now,
go
the
into the
All-Star
break,
break.
and then you say, look, Malik Beasley's agent, I don't know who he is, but Malik Beasley's agent, sorry, he's going to have to come off the bench if he's going to be a part of this, because we cannot win a championship with the way that it is right now. There's some bad blood going on right there. You can see the frustration on Brooke Lopez's face every time they go down the floor and there's a busted assignment defensively, whether it is Dame, Beasley, Giannis, or, Jay Crowder. There is some serious issues that are going on. And last night, you can't blame it on Thanasis Antetokounmpo because he didn't even play. But look, that's been a big issue though, because you hear Charles Barkley last night.
Oh, such a great line.
Charles was fantastic. They did Shaqtin' a Fool, where the number one Shaqtin' a Fool was Thanasis, and it was a 4-play highlight low light reel of Thanasis. And this is what Barkley said.
Hey, let me tell you something. Y'all can make fun of Thanasis. Hey, that guy got better job security than a Supreme Court justice. Not in reading my book on the sideline. The Greek bleak.
The Greek bleak. Yikes!
TNT went in
I didn't
on
catch
him.
that one. I saw the first one.
There's issues in
Well,
Milwaukee.
here's the thing. Without getting into too much of this, the way it's always been presented to me is that the reason Thanasis is around is, yes, because he's Giannis's brother, but also executives keep him around because he is the one person that will check Giannis. He will tell him when he's wrong, when he's acting a fool, when he's being stubborn. He is the one guy that will go to his brother and be like, bleep you, get your head right, and do this. And if that means you have to play the nepotism game,
Well, then he needs
Fine.
This is what Doc needs to do then and this is what the first 10 games have been. It is the experiment of Beasley in the starting lineup. It is
maybe
playing
play your rookies.
Thanasis in meaningful minutes. And then what you have to do is, coming out of the All-Star break, you say, if we're going to make a push, if we're going to be the team that we need to be and win a championship with, then Thanasis, you are now the human victory cigar, where you only play in blowouts. And Beasley, you're coming off the bench, and that is the start of how we figure things out.
I think what they end up doing is they can still start Beasley. It's just you stagger differently.
Give him the quick hook, give him the honorary start.
It's the Noah Vonleh treatment.
Yeah.
The Noah Vonleh honorary start.
Yikes. Well,
Now, you don't have to play him 12 minutes a game because Bees is shooting the living hell out of the 3-ball.
they were 32-14 when Doc took over in
3 and
second
7
place
cents.
in the Eastern Conference. Now they are 35-21 and are 8.5 games back of the Boston Celtics, who are 8-2 over that stretch.
In spite of this,
BT Dubs.
I'm still not picking against them.
They can figure it out. They can figure it out.
That's the thing. It's like when the
this
NBA
is,
is so much top end, and I think in the end they will go through this.
and trade Dame to Portland.
And well, ultimately he's coming back here one way or another. So we'll see how that comes out. But I think this is a situation where they may not win as many games down the stretch, but they figure stuff out, which is significantly more important. Now, I don't think they're falling out of the top 4, so I think they'll have home court regardless, unless they get in later rounds. But I think this is more about playing for June than playing for March. That's where I fall with this.
Go through it, because right now you're still third in the Eastern Conference. You can go through, you can have these warts, and you can still come out and make a charge late in the year, and you're game and a half back of Cleveland.
It doesn't matter how you
game and a
play
half
right
up at
now.
New York.
It matters how you're playing in late April.
All right. Hey, record-setting night last night, and what a hell of a way to do it. Next on The Fan. Incredible. That courtesy of Peacock, where Caitlin Clark set the Division I scoring record, passing University of Washington's Kelsey Plum, who had 3,527 points was the record. Caitlin Clark, when you talk about that it factor, when you talk about the players that are transcendent in their sport,
Yes,
and how they operate, to not just break that record, but the way that she did it, it's mind-blowing because she comes out after a loss at Nebraska and she was 8 points away. She comes out layup 3. She's 3 points away from tying the record or breaking the record. She pulls up from Lillard range.
It was a 30-foot
Yuck.
three and just cashed it.
Yuck.
She's built for the moment. She's a bucket.
She
and
scored the first 8 points of the game for her team.
on all adrenaline, and she just got it out of the way. And she's playing a different game than all the other women out there.
And then she scored 41 more points after that.
49.
What?
They put up all over. Look, this is not me denigrating college basketball or women's college basketball. You don't see women's college basketball scoring 100.
Not very often, no.
Like, that's not a thing that happens. No. You're talking about, the game is not played at the same pace. You don't have nearly the same kind of shooting. Like, it's just, college is not built like that. So when you see this kind of scoring, it is bonkers. Something that actually was kind of cool coming out of this. You had all of the congratulatory praise that's heaped on her, the pre-recorded messages from Tom Brady and Peyton and Eli Manning. The one that really stood out, Angel Reese.
Yeah, they had beef.
They probably still do.
Beef.
But Angel
What's
Reese
for
can't
dinner?
sit there and point at the ring finger and not also recognize that she is the GOAT. Caitlin Clark is that.
Damn Skippy.
And for her to be above all that and to send that, big on her.
Yeah,
That's
pretty
cool. That's cool to see.
Pretty cool.
Now go at each other again in the NCAA tournament. That's what I want to see.
Hopefully in Portland. Because
That's right.
We got a women's regional
We
this year.
do. God, I hope we get at least one of those teams here.
That would be awesome.
If they got either of LSU or Iowa in this region, which I doubt they would because they'll both be top seeds. But if they did,
Well, you're going to get right now the Portland region, according to the bracketology, the bracketology.
yeah.
You would have Iowa in Portland.
Really?
You would have
With what seed?
the 2 seed.
Oh, okay. That's why they're pumping them to a 2. Okay.
Colorado would be the 1 seed.
Interesting. Okay.
And then also in Portland, you could get Baylor, which is still a good program.
Yeah.
You got Stanford, which
That's Cam Brink and
Brink coming home.
Tara Vanderveer. That would be huge if they got Iowa and Stanford here in that bracket.
Oregon State would also be a 3 seed with the opportunity to come to Portland.
Wow.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
As a preempt to Portland getting a WNBA team, fans here would have a chance to really show out for top level women's basketball. That would be pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie. That would actually be. I would find a way to get to an Iowa game. 100%.
You would have Stanford, Texas, Oregon State, Indiana, which really good. Syracuse, Colorado, Iowa, Virginia Tech. Good at women's basketball. Apparently.
I had somebody from
Kansas
Virginia
State
tell me it
and
was
Gonzaga
weird.
as well. Gonzaga would be here as well.
I had somebody from Virginia tell me it was weird to call Virginia Tech Va-Tech the other day.
Really?
They said, I'm from Virginia. I live in Virginia. I have friends who went to Virginia Tech. I don't know anyone's ever called it Va-Tech.
Well, they probably just call it Tech.
Maybe
If I say Tech, what school do you think of?
Texas.
You think of Texas Tech.
OIT.
You go to hell. You go straight
Drove that knife in there.
Those country bumpkins in Klamath Falls. Go straight to hell.
I think Georgia Tech.
I do too. That's Georgia
that's
Tech.
fair.
Once you get past that Oregon Tech, I'm staring lasers through you. Staring laser beams through you. All right. Yeah, I would think if they probably just call it Tech. I think of Georgia Tech, then Texas Tech would be number 2.
Yeah,
And Virginia Tech would be 3rd.
Sure, but it was weird when I said Va-Tech. They're like Va. Nobody ever calls anything Va, and I was like, maybe it's a West Coast thing. But I everyone I've ever known when talking about Virginia Tech, either you say Virginia Tech or you say Va-Tech.
Why did you say Vic?
Yeah.
Beamer.
Beamer ball.
Beamer ball.
Yeah.
Vic. I don't find myself talking about Virginia Tech often.
But I have two friends that are from Virginia that were in the Air Force with me, and I was talking to them last night.
Del Curry, didn't he go to Virginia Tech?
I think
Is that
so.
where Del Curry went?
Yeah, because Virginia Tech wouldn't offer Steph the scholarship. They would have let him walk on. That's why he had to go to Davidson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Do
don't.
you think they regret that one?
I would probably think that is something that they would.
Del Curry, indeed, Virginia Tech.
Yeah, I think
I was confident in that one.
Bruce Smith, Michael Vick, Del Curry.
It's a short list, but it's a good list.
It is a really good list. It's a great list.
I love schools like that when you see it and you're like Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's list is like one of the best lists in all of college sports.
Bimbo Coles.
God, it's such a great name. Bring back people being named Bimbo, unironically.
People forget Marcus Vick too.
Well,
Probably for good reason.
here's the thing about that. Maybe they remembered, hey, remember that time we gave
Cam Chancellor, too.
We gave Marcus Vick the opportunity to play here. Maybe we shouldn't do the whole nepotism thing. And so they told Steph no. Marcus ruined it for Steph.
Marcus ruined it for Steph. That sucks for him. Sucks for Virginia Tech too. All right. Well, and that's talking Tech. But what a hell of a way to do it for Caitlin Clark. And I hope that she is in Portland. That's going to be a really cool event, especially if you have, Cameron Brink here in Stanford. If you can get Iowa too, sign me up. But I think that there's no like disappointments that are going to happen because you're probably going to have like Connecticut or, Iowa or Stanford here. And I'm all for it. It's going to be awesome. And the way that she broke that record, that's how stars do it. That's how they do it.
And now who's
crotch chopping.
who's up next on the all-time scoring list?
Who?
Antoine Davis. Rip City Remix legend, number 2 scorer in NCAA basketball history.
Wait, what?
Yes, Detroit Mercy. He is number 2 all time.
Really?
Yes, he is 2 points away from the NCAA record.
Do you see Detroit Mercy? They just snapped
They
their 26,
0-26.
and they had a single fan storm the court.
They did, and
Which is so fitting. You get your first win. We're gonna go ahead on Dick Vitale floor.
After
He just
watching
kind of
the
goes,
video,
"Hey, we did it."
Yeah, after watching the video, we're using the word storm
Yes.
fairly loosely here.
Yes.
so it's
No.
unfortunate. Antoine Davis's dad is the coach there, who
They
also
kinda-
is the coach that took over for Bobby Knight first after he was let go at Indiana.
Fan kind of sauntered onto the court.
There's a lot of strings we're pulling here with the Davis family and scoring records and recent news. It's kind of cool.
That is neat.
But yeah, no, Antoine Davis is the number 2 scorer in NCAA history. Trails the record by 2 points.
Well,
Tough.
Here comes Caitlin Clark. She's coming for you.
Yeah, she's only like 40 points away, I think.
She'll get that by, I don't know.
She was 100. So she's 51 points away because she was 100, I think, coming into the game.
All right, hey, let's transition to the NFL a little bit here.
All right.
We got some news out of the NFL. Jim Harbaugh, he rounds out his staff, and Jimmy G is Jimmy next on the Fan. Hour number 2 on Danny and Dusty, 503-864-6326. That's the Vancouver Ford text line. You can also hit the comments on youtube.com/1080am The Fan. That's how you can communicate with the radio program. Will Zalatoris hit an ace at the Genesis down at Riviera, and he won a car for him and his caddy. They do a twofer for that.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Did you hear what Phil Mickelson said last week? How many hole-in-ones he's had in his career?
No.
Take a guess.
How many hole-in-ones Phil has hit? 16.
Oh, way more.
Way more?
Way more.
Somewhere between 17 and 100.
Ooh, that was good. That's good. 43.
You're close. In fact, you're very close. 47.
That's pretty good.
47?
Yeah, he's good at golf.
47?
Yeah, he's good at golf. It's Phil. He's really good at golf. Now, that's just, I was thinking, he's been a pro for so damn long. I was thinking like that would be on in like tour events or like in preparation for those tour events. With the amount of golf
he's
he
5
plays,
on the tour.
5 on the tour. That's why I went really high and I was like 16 because I was thinking like
And Phil is
maybe
number 1.
if you go like at the Masters par 3, he's probably had a couple there at the par 3 challenge. And then like in tournaments, like I was thinking like if I go really high, 16 would be it. But when you think of all the golf he's played in his life and when he's not playing on the tour, it's at like really nice clubs, but he's going really low.
Yeah.
He's going really low and not
still,
seeing PGA pin placements or greens.
7?
Yeah, that's incredible.
That's nuts.
That's crazy. That's crazy. Zalatoris' caddy is a guy named Joel Stock. He's from Oregon, so that new whip is going to be coming this way. He was the University of Oregon. He was Ben Crane's teammate, Beaverton's own Ben Crane.
Beaverton's own.
Hey, no kidding.
Yeah, and he was Ben Crane's caddy for the longest time.
Nice.
Yeah, so that happened at the Genesis. Let's get to a little football. I heard in Rusty's update, Jimmy G popped 2 games for the PEDs.
Oh, no, you hate to see it.
What's your grind with Jimmy Garoppolo? You're the team's the dumbasses that brought him in.
Yeah, I know. Now I see a nice way for the dumbasses to get out of it. Look, it sucks for Jimmy. It really does. But whatever he took, I hope it was worth it because it's going to cost him $11 million.
So he took something that he didn't have a prescription for, and it's on the banned list. This tells me like he took like
Probably HGH.
Adderall or something. No, HGH gets you the big one. HGH does not get you a 2-game suspension. You do not get 2 for HGH.
I thought they had the light ban on it first.
I do no. I think HGH is a different.
No, it's for. Oh no, it's 4 games that they hit the performance enhancers for.
Yeah.
That's why. Okay, it's not 2.
So this is under the performance enhancing drugs policy,
yeah,
but
it's not the performance enhancers. Air quotes.
Yeah, I bet he took some Adderall or something like that.
But which he shouldn't be taking without prescription, anyways.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think in the description or the statement or whatever, it said it was a prescribed medication, but he hadn't sought out the therapeutic use exemption.
Uh-huh.
So there you go.
So it said, it said prescribed.
Sure.
Yeah, 2 games. I mean,
the 2 games is not the thing that's the problem. It's the thing that violates his contract, which makes it null and void that the Raiders now get out from under for free. That $11.5 million he was owed is now no longer guaranteed.
Have you ever looked into how many like drugs are banned from the NFL?
It's a scroll.
Yeah. I mean,
It is lengthy.
yeah. Let's see that.
I'll tell you this right now. The NBA's version, a lot smaller. Lot smaller.
Yeah, that's true.
Just gotta go ahead and throw that out there.
Yeah, they got it's a laundry list.
Oh no, the NFL's is
Holy crap.
wild. Probably because the NFL, the guys are more likely to try to beat it.
Well, yeah. Goodness gracious, you just keep scrolling.
It's a lot,
Scrolling
man.
and scrolling. So we can't really
Rule out a ton.
methamphetamines is on here.
Yeah,
so
no,
can't do that.
That one's on the NBA's. I'll tell you that one.
Can't do the meth.
Tyreek Evans will tell you that.
Yeah, there's a lot there. I don't even know where to start with how many there are. It's
Again, the bigger part of the story to me
200?
is that
200. They save $11 million. The Raiders do.
I mean, not just the Raiders, but I mean, just Jimmy G costing himself $11 million because he probably some Adderall.
Just took something.
It's like, that's the thing
Hot
about
name.
this. Like, I genuinely do feel bad for Jimmy G because I guarantee you he was not counting on his $11 million guaranteed contract disappearing.
Do you think that Mark Davis handed him something and said, take this, and then called in the league and said, ha
Test him now.
I'm cheap.
On another hand, I think I did see he has $148 million in career earnings.
He's okay.
So I
Sure,
don't
yeah,
feel
but
too
like,
terribly for
hey,
him.
look, man, like if somebody's
Well, but if you're not going to get $11 million, I'd like
that's
that
the thing,
$11
is, like,
million.
he's not getting that money anywhere else. No, he won't make $11 million in the league again.
Jimmy
Oh,
could
sure
be a
he will.
backup for a long time. How old is Jimmy G?
He
at
is
this
handsome.
point? He's handsome, and
And he's well liked.
he can just kind
Like
of
everybody does vibe with him. Remember that was the whole thing with picking Jimmy in San Francisco. Was that the vibes were there?
He's a great dude.
Feels great, baby.
Yeah.
And he's 32. So I bet I don't think he's going to get $11 million left, but I think he could be a backup till he's like 36. So he's 36, 37. So he's probably got like 4 or 5 more years backup
Okay.
money.
He could Fitzmagic this thing.
You could play, you could pay, because look, for Jimmy Garoppolo, do you want him to be your starting quarterback?
No.
But if you have a guy that goes down and you say we need somebody to operate and just steer the ship,
You put Jimmy in. You know what? That's
he can do
A couple
that.
weeks ago, we were talking about the death of the veteran quarterback. He was exactly what the veteran backup should be. Like a
Absolutely.
very capable, competent backup. Like, yeah, your quarterback's gone for 4 to 6 weeks. Sucks, but you got a chance with him.
find a way to keep your name in the news too. You know.
Yeah, just
Way to go, Jimmy.
just data point star every now and then.
You see that Jim Harbaugh completed his staff with the Chargers. He announced his complete staff. This is an interesting staff.
Well, I mean, it is Jim Harbaugh.
Boy, because he's bringing along a lot of his defensive staffs is guys that were with him in Michigan, including his defense coordinator
Yes,
Jesse
Minter,
Minter, who we knew that one happened. But he is also bringing Steve Clinksale, who's never been an NFL coach before, only college experience. He is hired Navarro Bowman. Who
I
is
saw
a
that.
linebacker
I was
for
like,
him.
that one screams really good.
You bring the
That screams D'Amico Ryans 2.0. When I
Yeah.
see that, I'm like, oh, that might be a really good hire.
a guy who can relate to the players, knows exactly what the expectations are from Jim Harbaugh.
I played under him. I can tell you what
knows
this
it.
is like.
But his offensive, like his defense step, there's some questions and like, well, we'll see how this one goes.
His
But-
offensive assistant, that's the one that caught my eye in Tressman.
What he's got, his entire offensive staff, I think, is nails.
Yeah.
Like they are really damn good, including Greg Roman. Because I think when you look at the offensive staff that Harbaugh has assembled, we know what Jim Harbaugh's offense is going to look. It's going to look like the prototypical pro style offense.
yes.
You are going to have
There are a
Justin
lot of
Herbert
them.
under center. You are going to use a tight end. You are going to have a lot of 21 personnel in there. You will be exotic enough to spread teams out
Real
and
quick.
go into 11 personnel quite often. Yeah.
How much? I don't remember. How much did Herbert play under center at Oregon?
None. The final year, I think he took a couple of sneaks.
But other than that, it was
Never in
all,
high school either.
Okay, that's what I thought.
He I think he'd only taken. I think he said he never actually practiced snaps under center till he got to the NFL.
Okay, that's what I thought. And he still wasn't doing a ton.
They
Moore.
did with Kellen Moore.
Yeah.
Once he got to the NFL, you obviously have to be able to
Yes.
go under center, and that hasn't been an issue with him. It's not like he has a
No, but
problem
this
seeing
will
over
be
the
a
line.
I think a push to even more.
They're going to
that
try
direction.
to run downhill.
Yep.
You've got Andy Bischoff, who they've added to that staff, who has a run game coordinator who was in Houston with the Texans. He is a run first guy. They bring a lot of Baltimore people in on the offensive side of the ball.
This screams the end of Austin Eckler and number one, a running back that can stay healthy, and number two, somebody bigger.
Well, they have so many, like the variations that they have in the offense, because you talk about Tressman. He's an offensive analyst. Mark Tressman, former Bears head coach, who was a disaster as the head
As
coach of
head
the Bears.
coach,
but their offense wasn't
No.
the problem. Like they were top 10 offense when he was the head coach in
Weirdly
Chicago.
enough.
But it was everything else that
Yeah.
kind of fell apart. You don't have to worry about that when he's the offensive analyst for you. You also bring back Shane Day, which I think is a home run hire. So you have Shane Day, who is in LA with the Chargers with Justin Herbert 2 years ago. Last year was CJ Stroud's quarterback coach in Houston. They bring him back to LA. And now you're starting to see kind of how this offense is going to look, because Greg Roman, downhill running attack. Mark Trestman, who likes to throw the ball a ton. He's a Marty Ball disciple. Marty Schottenheimer, he coached with him in Cleveland. Then you have Marcus Brady, who is a guy who got his start as a replacement for Nick Sirianni in Indianapolis under Frank Reich, then went to Philadelphia, has been with the Eagles under Nick Sirianni. And then you have Shane Day, who has familiarity with Herbert. And then Trestman and Roman, those two guys, with obviously Jim Harbaugh having say in this, you have every variation that you could ask for in your offense. Everybody on this staff has gone through it. And I think that when you have a team that can be as multiple as the LA can be, when you have Justin Herbert, their offensive staff is going to be nails, man. They are going to be really damn
The
good.
Muschamp one was the one I was wondering when I saw the name. And I was like, I wonder. And yes, he is the nephew of Will Muschamp.
Yeah, Robert Muschamp, who they brought in as defensive assistant. They just brought in a bunch of dudes who
Football
have been
dudes.
at really successful places. Every stops they've been.
And
though.
he was at Auburn for those wondering.
They went to Baltimore. They went to Philly, and obviously Baltimore with John Harbaugh being the common thread there. Baltimore, Philly, Indy, and then last year's Houston team. They are going to be really stinking good offensively.
I know we always talk ourselves into the Chargers because they have so much talent. Whatever the Chargers are selling this year in the offseason, whatever the win total is, unless it's insane, I'm probably going to take it because I'm not going to doubt Harbaugh. I'm just not. I'm not going to do it.
That dude can coach football.
He might be the best coach we've seen in the modern era.
My biggest question is, what do they do in the draft? What direction do they hold the 5th overall pick? They have been
Fashanu.
injured kind of all over their offensive line, but they have Rashawn Slater as your left tackle.
But if you have
injured.
But if you have two, you get Fashanu and Slater, two absolute freaks.
And then you're looking like the way Detroit started theirs.
Or if you want to go the other side and go Joe Alt, have two tackles that are just dudes. I wouldn't fault them at all.
They are a candidate, though, as a team that is roster-wise really good, quit on their head coach, trading back, acquiring more picks. They are prime candidate for that.
I hate to say this after taking Quentin Johnson. Trade back, get an offensive lineman because you've got probably 5 no BS linemen you can take in the top 20 that you won't bat an eye at, and you can take the other pick and go get another receiver.
And just find a team that's desperate for a quarterback or...
Because at number 5, you're going to have whoever you want after Drake and Caleb.
You could go and get it.
At 5, you're going to have whatever quarterback. If Jaden Daniels, anybody?
New England is sitting there looking at 3, which you don't know what the hell they're going to do. I have no idea what they're going to do. This is a new world.
It is, but organizationally...
New GM, new head coach. Who knows? Their offensive line is a disaster, though.
Yeah,
so,
getting somebody who can move.
Yeah. Oh, look at that. Top 3 on the latest mock. 1, Caleb Williams. 2, Jaden Daniels.
Wow.
3, Drake May to New England.
And then they have at number 5 for San Diego, Joe Alt.
Yeah. All right. 503-864-6326. That is the Vancouver Ford text line. There's a piece of audio that I want to play because we don't see this too often. Next. All right, we talked about the Milwaukee Bucks, their kind of disarray and how that pertained to, working through some things here in the first half of the season, especially when you have, or the unofficial first half is now we're halfway through the season. And we hit the All-Star break. A team that has been really going through it and trying to figure out what the next evolution of their team will be is the Golden State Warriors. And
Indeed,
they're playing really well right now, to the chagrin of Blazer fans, because the Blazers own an unprotected first-round pick.
well, top 4 protected.
Top 4 protected first-round pick from Golden State. And they're 8-2 over their last 10, and they're figuring it out.
Yeah, and it comes down to one thing, really. I mean, it's a couple things that play into it, but the thing that matters the most, it's the return of Draymond Green and him being moved to center, Kevon Looney. Kevon Looney was never supposed to actually be in the NBA, and the fact that he was as good as he was for them, his hips, and this is going to sound hilarious, his hips are as bad as mine, and he's playing in the NBA at 6'8". He had the same exact hip surgery that I did, and the fact that he has been as productive as he has been over these years is insane.
All I'm hearing is that you're going to play in the NBA.
Yeah, no, it's if I was, 6'9" with the world's longest arms and an insane defensive IQ and, I don't know, real athleticism, sure. But they moved Draymond Green to center. He's moved out of that kind of 4 spot, and he did the small ball 5 thing with the death lineup, which can be covered up when you have 7-foot Kevin Durant and all that spacing offensively, and you're overwhelming. But Dre has lost a half a step in his age. But as playing small ball 5, now as long as they don't match up with, the Jokic's of the world, this works incredibly well in the emergence of Jonathan Kuminga. Now, Kuminga's still not really shooting threes on volume, but he's able to knock enough down to be a little bit of a threat, but they have rim pressure with him. Steph is still doing Steph things, but it's Draymond his defensive juice has really popped for them over the last handful of games. The emergence of Brandon Podziemski, who is now starting over Klay Thompson.
And that's the crazy part. The Santa Clara product, who talk about scouting your own backyard effectively.
Right. Who leads the NBA in charges taken as a rookie. That's an insane stat.
He's been playing really well and well enough to unseat Klay Thompson in that starting lineup. And last night, Klay Thompson came off the bench for the first time since his rookie season in 2012. And I give Klay Thompson a ton of credit
for accepting this,
for being who he is, in having awareness. How many players have awareness about them in the NBA? Where you talk about this, and you were talking about Malik Beasley earlier with Milwaukee. Mm-hmm. He was promised a starting lineup spot. Well, guess what? It's not working. Yeah. And if the conversation around Milwaukee is, if you move him to the bench, what's going to happen to him in the locker room? What's going to happen to the Milwaukee Bucks organization? Meanwhile, the Golden State Warriors, who rings matter.
And again, also, remember, Klay is in a contract year.
Klay Thompson has not been playing well and up to their standards. And what did they do? They said, you're going to move to the bench.
Well, they tried everything before getting to this point.
They went through it, and they said, it's not adding up to wins. You need to take another role. But it's not just making that move and if you're Golden State and massaging that, because it hasn't gone smoothly. No. Hell, against the Clippers the other night, Steph Curry goes to give Klay Thompson a high five, and he just walks right past him. Like he's
going through it
in his feelings.
Yes.
In his first game coming off the bench, he comes out, scores 35 points on 13 of 22 shooting. 7 of 13 from 3. At one point scored 18 consecutive points for the Golden State Warriors.
It looked like Game 6 Klay.
And then came out after and said this.
More importantly, I realized I'm going to play a ton of minutes, so you just got to let the ego go when you think of coming off the bench and all that. So, I mean, I thought about Manu Ginobili. That guy has 4 rings and gold medal, and he came off the bench his whole career. And I don't think anyone looks down on his Hall of Fame candidacy. He's one of the greats, and I thought I embraced it before tip, and I deserved it. Really, I didn't respond to the not playing at the end of the game well last night. I kind of took it out on the assistant coaches, and I apologized to those guys before the game, and I think that really let my guard down and let me just be myself out there.
We've seen Klay Thompson over the course of this season, and really over the course of the last month, accept his fate in the public eye.
And
The closing lineup where Draymond just spouts off, I didn't close out game 5 of the NBA Finals. Who gives a blank?
which he's
Come on,
not
man.
wrong, but in that moment, Dre, shut up.
Shut up. Yeah. Right?
Like, here's the thing. We don't ever see this play out in public, which it's playing out in public because Clay is allowing it to. But more often than not, even that part of it is more rare. But what is so rare in the NBA is doing what Clay is doing. And he's not doing it fully willingly. He's telling you he's not. He chewed out his teammates. He blew off Steph. He's
Cussed out coaches.
But he is accepting it. He is going out there. Now, I don't know how you're accepting it when you're getting 22 shots up, but we'll see what it looks like when you're getting 8. But there are so few great players who have aged and allowed it to happen. The last one that actually allowed it to happen and changed and their career changed after injury is Vince Carter. Carmelo Anthony never changed.
Grant Hill as well as a guy that I can say.
His medicals forced him. There was no choice.
But he
about
did.
it.
But he did it, and he adapted, and he changed his mindset.
Yep.
And that's the hardest part as a player.
Well, it's
Accepting your fate,
Rudy
whether
Gay.
it's physically or role.
yeah. Rudy Gay and Vince Carter, the two guys. Like, the reason those guys stand out so much is because it is so rare. Most guys, when they're great, it's you fall off and then you're done. How much do you remember Iverson in Memphis?
Yeah. Patrick Ewing in Orlando.
Yeah, like when it falls off, Olajuwon in the Raptors.
Yeah.
Like, when it falls off, buddy, it falls off. Like, and it's just like because they're not willing to accept the lesser role, to be the mentor, to have their ego checked, because you've spent the entirety of your adult, not even your adult life, your child life, having your ego gassed up.
Well, Shaq, when he wasn't as dominant at the later part of his career and he was bouncing around the
big
league.
cactus, he accepted it finally towards the very end. But yeah, it's just, and so it's very interesting, but it's unique and just kind of, this stuff isn't as important as I'm probably making it sound, but kind of enjoy these and respect these moments as a sports fan, because they are very rare and they're very fleeting to get these kind of insights into it, but also that a star is willingly going through this.
And that's a rare part. And I think something that we can kind of all take from it is in what Clay, in his openness to what he's been telling everybody about this, nobody handles these situations perfectly. And for whatever reason, we want everybody to be perfect and to say everything the right way and do everything the right way. But there is a path to being successful still and having those bumps in the road. And that's exactly what they've been going through. And he's openly admitting it. Like, if you are accepting of it or the person that you're working with in any form of whatever you do in work, if they're accepting responsibility for what they do as far as their screw ups, you can't have a pathway to be successful and move forward. This was the first real big step for Klay Thompson in the Warriors, though. And I appreciate the hell out of it because we don't see it very often. And he's on it. He's been brutally honest about it.
I hope Klay continues to figure this stuff out, and I hope the Warriors face plant the rest of the year.
That is a great way to put it.
In all seriousness, the Warriors are going to be in the play-in because the Jazz made moves to kind of liquidate at the trade deadline. And not really get a ton of impact back for them. And if you look at the way the West is, there's nobody going to catch them, but I don't think the Warriors are getting out of the play-in. And it's going to be tough. It's tough for me to see them beating either Sacramento or Dallas or both to get out of the play-in. So it still probably likely ends up being a lottery pick.
All right.
So
let's go.
We'll see how that shakes out. All right, coming up next, our worst day on the web. It's not quite a dog ate my homework situation, but one group of guys had a hell of an excuse for showing up late and not having their assignment done. But first, here's the Big Kahuna with the Sports Center update.
You mind if I have some of your tasty beverage to wash this down?
Now, Now, from the Spirit Mountain Casino Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
This update brought to you by Crunch Fitness. Memberships as low as $9.99 per month. Find your Crunch time in Portland, Vancouver, and online at crunch.com. First on The Fan, the Trailblazers wrapped up the first half of the season on the wrong end of a beginning-to-end whooping at the hands of the Timberwolves. They enter the break at 15-39. That is the fifth worst record in the league. ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski reporting the Blazers signing two-way center Duop Reith to a new 3-year standard NBA contract. Woj also reporting the Wizards and DeLon Wright have agreed to a buyout, clearing the way for the guard to sign with the Heat after clearing waivers. Raiders quarterback Jimmy Garoppolo suspended 2 games for violating the league's performance-enhancing substance policy for using a prescribed medication without having a valid therapeutic use exemption. He will not appeal and will miss the first 2 games of the season, although he's not expected to return to the Raiders. Round 2 of the Genesis Invitational from Riviera Country Club, and Cam Davis and Patrick Cantlay find themselves tied for the lead at 9 under par. They are 1 stroke clear of Luke List, Jason Day, Mackenzie Hughes, and Tom Hoagie. Jordan Spieth is 2 strokes off the pace at 7 under, all alone in 7th place. Tony Finau 5 under. Scotty Scheffler is 4 under. Tiger Woods in danger of missing the cut without a couple of round scores on holes. He is 2 over par. For the tournament, the projected cut line is 1 over. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Jeff Rush at the Spirit Mountain Casino Sports Desk. Spirit Mountain Casino, the place to watch and wager on pro and college games every week. Learn more at spiritmountain.com.
Your favorite fan shows are on YouTube. Mash the subscribe button and like us for live streaming video and 1080 The Fan on demand. It's time for today's worst day on the web. With Danny and Dusty on Odyssey and 1080 The Fan.
Well, that sucks.
I don't know what brought it up, but I was sitting in the media room Tuesday night talking with some folks with the Timberwolves, remembering, I remember what it was. I remember it was talking about the good old times, and because the Timberwolves are playing incredibly well, and the Blazers are not. Like, the roles are kind of reversed. The last time things were going really well for Portland, they got stuck in an elevator.
Yeah.
You know, Evan Turner's famous line, "This is not how you treat a former number 3 seed in the Western Conference."
That's right.
And they were stuck in that thing for about an hour, and Dame was going through it. He ate the only granola bar in the entire elevator.
Did they set up a pee corner? I learned that from The Office. Dwight Schrute, you've got to establish the pee corner.
Which would have been very interesting, because in that elevator was Damian Lillard, Evan Turner, Myers Leonard, Enes Kanter, Rodney Hood.
There's some big humans in there.
That's some massive humans
There's some big
in that
people in there.
elevator, man. I say all of this not just to kind of like remember some guys, but it happened again, not to the Portland Trailblazers, but Fairleigh Dickinson.
Hey, the sweethearts of the NCAA tournament last year.
They were about to play their game, and they were leaving their locker room, and in order to do so, they had to take the elevator down to get to the floor where the game is played, and they got stuck in the elevator.
That's a weird quirk for an arena. To have the visitors' locker room taken. The visitors have to take an elevator down to the arena floor.
The court of the Steinberg Wellness Center in Brooklyn. That's the thing. You got to remember, they're in Brooklyn. Everything's vertical.
Oh my god!
You don't have horizontal space.
Not even for a locker room. Just like shove them under the stands, because they were on the road, correct? They were on the road
in Brooklyn. Yeah.
Even like the visitors' locker room notoriously should be small and dingy. They had to go down an elevator to do that. The great part about this is that they were late for the game, and the fire department had to come and let them out.
They had to get the fire department to come pry them out and lift the elevator up so they could get out, kind of a deal.
Did they win?
They did.
They won.
They won in overtime, so even the distractions could not get to them.
Perfect. You have less time to shoot around. You got go in there and win that game. Let's go, baby. That would be terrifying. I've never been stuck in an elevator. I hope I never get stuck in an elevator.
But it was like for 5 minutes.
There's nothing I would. Those 5 minutes would be terrifying to me.
I would not do well. I get claustrophobic.
Do you?
Yeah.
I don't get claustrophobic, but it's just something about just being stuck in an elevator. I'd be like, I would find a way out. Almost immediately.
I start feeling claustrophobic, even just watching like submarine movies. See,
the submarine doesn't bother me. It's the idea of being hundreds of feet underwater in the submarine
for months at a time.
Yeah. So
like you go down for like 90 days in a submarine.
Yeah,
I don't do
nope, not signing up for that.
Caves. Like the people who do like the tight cave crawling thing, that gives me like, ooh.
Yeah, that can
but like
off.
But like stuck in an elevator, that doesn't bother me. Like I said, the submarine doesn't bother me. Like moving around on a ship never bothered me. What really triggered it for me, I mean, and it's supposed to. I didn't know this was coming either, and so it screwed me even more. In survival school, everybody eventually gets captured, and they put you in a kind of a mock POW camp. And they've got the burlap sack over my face, my hands cuffed tied behind my back. And they put me in a locker, like a foot locker.
That's not good.
And I mean, they stuffed me in this thing. And buddy, I did my mind, I wanted to scream. Like even thinking about it right now, it's kind of hard for me. Like I started to kind of hyperventilate, and like it was. What I didn't know at the time was these lockers that they kind of put you in, they have a board that they can adjust the size. So they make it tight on you on purpose, but they're not going to hurt you.
No, I'm good.
But I didn't know that until afterwards, but it threw me for a loop, man. Like that level of claustrophobia, being that tight in there and not knowing and have the bag over your head, that screwed me up. Like that bothered me more than
my hands are getting sweaty listening to that.
Oh, dude, I think we had like something like 24 hours of sleep deprivation where they had the strobe lights and music playing at like 1,000 decibels. That didn't bother me nearly as much as being stuffed in that box. It could have probably only been 20 minutes that I was in there, could have been 20 hours as far as I was concerned.
Here's a text. Take all the fan personalities. Who freaks out first? Obviously, Jeff Rust is number one.
I'll raise my hand there.
In the elevator? In the elevator, I'm fine.
I think it would be worse. It'd be worse for me if I was alone in an elevator than in a group of people.
Yeah.
Because I would become more of a calming force than anything else. I don't think I'd freak out. I think
I'll be like, I don't want any of y'all in here with me. You're taking up all my air.
Russ, you'd be number one on my
Yeah.
power rankings.
Yeah.
I think Sukanik would freak out, and he would just try to like rip the
Claw
doors
the wall.
open.
Yeah,
He'd
100%.
just try to rip the doors open.
Yeah, he'd go full Hulk
He'd be
smash.
like, I can do this. And he'd open it and be like, oh, cool. You exposed a wall.
Does Rob suddenly goes on about the current state of the industrial complex and how this is why we can't have nice things?
Yeah, Rob would just be sitting there calling everybody bitches.
Yes. Yeah.
I think Dirt is he's
Candidate
a
for
good
sideways?
candidate for going sideways
Yeah.
on
See,
this.
I was going to say maybe Sprague, though.
I mean, I think that a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think Swigard would handle it very well. No, he would be fine. He'd just be like, there'd be a lot of heavy breathing and sighing. Like,
Sighing. The lack of having a beverage.
Yeah, I was going to say, just, God, I wish I could have a Negroni.
Yeah.
Buck would be telling us all how we can. You and Buck would be the guys telling us all how we could get out, and we'd be like, God, can we just shut up and figure this thing out? Just stop. I'd probably crawl out the top, and I would.
We'd lift you up there.
Yeah, I'd just be like, I'd be out at the top and be like, I'm not sure what I'm supposed to do now, but I'm here.
Definitely be checking on that, that greased cable.
Yeah, I'd be doing nothing, and I'd probably like ruin a shirt doing it and be really pissed off because they'd open the doors and be like 5 minutes, and I'd be like, well, that was for nothing.
We'd get you up there, and as soon as we got you up there, they would open the doors, and you'd be like, well, guys,
That's it. Yeah,
Help,
I could see that happening. I think overall as a staff, it would be hell for Jeff Rust. And everybody else, I think we'd handle it okay. Besides trying to get Sukanik to stop using his rage to get us out of there, because that wouldn't help anything.
Yeah.
It wouldn't help anything at
No.
all. This is Nightmare Fuel. 27 football players holding pads above our heads free fell 6 floors in an elevator at the University of Nevada football camp. No.
How many floors?
6. That's 60 feet.
Bro.
Nope. Nightmare Fuel. I wonder how many people were hurt.
I feel like you're going to have an elevator full of poop after that.
You'd have some football pants full of it. I can tell you that much.
Bro. That would see.
But you got camp free in a broken leg.
Yeah. I've been in a
practice today.
I've been in a plane that was struck by lightning. We fell like 200 feet.
Nope.
That was not great.
Hey, nobody was hurt. They all ended up going to practice. Sure, that was an effective practice. Like,
Yeah.
you guys got a lot done that one.
Yeah. Probably got some new shorts out of that. Yeah. Free falling 60 feet in an elevator would definitely.
You learn a lot about people in that situation, though. There was a sound.
near-death
Somebody
experience.
made a sound in that situation
That you didn't know they were capable of making.
and then they forever will be
Associated with that sound.
scream guy. Yeah.
Keep our composure.
Yeah.
you learn a lot about people in that regard.
Did you turn and choke me with both hands when we were falling?
No, just one.
What did you just admit to as we were free falling? Like,
Yeah.
what? You had to get that off your chest before you thought you were dying? Yeah, we're fine.
We're good.
This would have been me during the free fall.
Yeah.
No, I bet you're like more of a.
Oh, really? That's how we're going to be.
Yep, he's gonna play the drop.
Damn it.
Yep, can't find
Can't
it.
find it.
Can't find the line. Can you? Russ? There
There it is.
There it is. Yeah, that's a peacock.
So that's the thing. Any more drops in there? No?
The official fart of stall.
There we go.
Always one of my favorites.
I was just waiting to see if
Part of
anything
stall.
else there. All right, when we come back, look, I love All-Star Break and the advancements, and you get up and you show all the shiny things. We've talked about the LED court. Well, Adam Silver got up on stage and said something that I really hope he's not serious about. And we'll talk about that and more. Come here and Danny Dusty, 1080 The Fan. Look, I'm all for innovation. I like nerd stuff. It's a thing I will proudly wave my nerd flag about. It's okay to push forward and do new things. Then there's things where you sit there and go, hey, maybe how about you just fix the things that are broken instead of, I don't know, maybe coming up with something stupid like NBAI. In other words, the AI that Adam Silver introduced at the stand-up ahead of All-Star, where he brought out Victor Wembanyama and said, hey, we have this new ability to take our games and overlay them with AI, which is kind of insane when you think their League Pass, which is their broadband feature to broadcast games, doesn't work. So I don't know why we're trying to make their games look like movies and appeal to an audience when you have blackouts and other things and your League Pass function doesn't work. So that maybe fix that first. I guarantee you if you went out there and said, we are going to revolutionize our streaming ability and make sure our app works and provides service to everybody at all times, it's going to be robust. It's going to be rival and pass everything that's already out there. But that would require real commitment and not some tacky thing like this where the example they showed with Victor Wembanyama on stage was, and this is the quote from the article, he starts speaking into a device that says, NBAI, show me the Pacers game as if it were a Spider-Man movie. And it shows the Pacers as like a comic book Miles Morales Spider-Man.
Where you like dunk it, it goes, pow!
And like Tyrese Halliburton gets Spidey sense before he makes a pass. And it's like, okay. Who asked for this and why? And like you could say, well, it's like the Nickelodeonization of the Super Bowl and like trying to draw on kids. Okay, cool. That's fine. But again, they have bigger problems, like making sure their broadcast package works and their refs don't suck.
Their refs are a big issue. And I also have a big, like, the problem that I have is if you're going to be rolling things out like this, the NBA League Pass not working, that's a big part of it. But also you have a bulk of teams that are in television hell right now.
Yes.
Whether their RSNs have gone away completely or they will not exist moving forward, and you've got to figure those things out. But this is more, I think, for the NBA has this problem with people aren't watching the games, right? They're watching the highlights on, social media, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. That's how young people are taking in the NBA now. I think they're just trying to find a way to make it so they can rope in and attract younger viewers, because it kind of looks like an anime type film, right?
Oh, no,
like that's what it looks like.
Certainly,
they're thinking that just catches the attention. Obviously, money not used in the right way in development. But what's new with a professional sports league absolutely looking the opposite direction of the actual problems that lie in front of them, like Major League Baseball and their Fanatics in Nike uniform debacle, where the players union is now stepping in and saying, all right, we can't move forward like
there
this.
was talks about that in the locker room last night
It's brutal.
like, that better not come to the NBA.
Because those uniforms look atrocious.
It's not only they look bad, they're cheap.
Yes.
They are knockoffs.
Brutal.
So, but no, it's just really interesting that the NBA is like touting this. Like, again, it's very dumb and it's fake. And I'm like, I'm not old guy shaking fist at clouds. Like, but just you have bigger fish to fry, and I know you need wins on a weekend like this, but let's maybe not use the new generation guy and Victor Wembanyama to prop up your crappy ideas.
Well, they had the other segment of this too, where they Ahmad Rashad was also on stage, and they were trying to use the AI to turn Victor Wembanyama into Ahmad Rashad, and it just kind of wound up looking like vaguely like Victor Wembanyama and nothing like Ahmad Rashad.
Very tall Victor Wembanyama or Ahmad Rashad.
Yeah,
it's just, what are we doing, man? We don't need
Nothing.
this. We don't need
Nothing
this.
at all.
You know what we do need? In hour number 3, college football win totals, baby. We're going to dive into those and more. Come up here on Danny and Dusty, 1080 The Fan. Hour number 3 here on Danny Dusty on a Friday afternoon, and a reminder, Jenny the Fan invites you to play in the first annual Fan Winter Golf Classic at X Golf Tualatin and X Golf Vancouver, Tuesday, February 27th. That again is less than 2 weeks away.
Let's go.
Doing the math, carry the one, 10 days away. The 4 p.m. round at X Golf is sold out, and the noon round is filling up fast. You can also choose from either the noon or 4 p.m. round at X Golf Vancouver. Dusty and I will be out of Vancouver. Isaac and Zook will be at the Tualatin location. Both shows will be broadcasting live. The winning threesome will win a free foursome at this summer's 10th annual Fan Golf Classic. So if you're sick, come out there and save a few bucks for the summer job. And then, if you suck, the last place threesome will receive a free lesson at X Golf, which you can then use to get a foursome.
You get better and hopefully win the 10th annual Fan Golf Classic.
Make sure you don't inflate your handicap out there like some people have done in the past. But with that being said, there will be food for our golfers from Victor Rico's Mexican Food and Pearl Catering and the Urban Restaurant Group. All golfers will be playing on the historic Pebble Beach course on the state-of-the-art simulator. Go to 1080thefan.com for more info to sign up now.
Let's get it.
I knew you couldn't go more than like a couple days. You couldn't even make it a bleeping week without getting back to football.
This isn't my hold on.
I knew it. I knew it.
We're going to talk about the 15-win Blazers for 3 hours a day?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
Absolutely. Maybe sprinkle in some baseball. Pitchers and catchers, baby.
No, it's not my fault. FanDuel decided they were going to drop the win total projections this week.
You just happen to know exactly when and where they were and then have them for everyone else too?
It is king. It is king. Well, this is the interesting thing is I was kicking around and looking for this because it came out, like the first wave of them were the top teams in all of college football. You went the top 14 teams, which is all teams that are in power conferences that are 9.5 wins or more. And there's 14 teams in that.
That felt right number-wise. Couple of teams made my eyebrow go up.
Yeah, well, I mean, the who's who, and this is the incredible part about where we're at in college football, and everybody saying NIL in the transfer portal of the death of college football. Right now, you have 4 teams in college football that are projected to have 10.5 wins or more, and that is the tops. Like, this isn't like we're sitting there at 11.5 where it was like, yeah, maybe they'll lose a game, Georgia or Alabama. No, you got 4 teams across.
Parity, baby.
And you got 4 teams across 2 conferences, which is pretty interesting. The SEC and the Big Ten. Georgia, Ohio State, Texas, and the Oregon Ducks all sitting there at 10.5 wins projected this year. And that is... I mean, for Duck fans, that's got to be music to your ears because it is Vegas sitting there and saying, no, it isn't just a great recruiting class. It's not just top 3 recruiting class. It isn't just getting Dylan Gabriel and Evan Stewart. It is you have been stacking recruiting classes back to when Mario Cristobal was the head coach. You have used the transfer portal to your advantage. You have used NIL and recruiting to get up there as one of the top 4 programs in college football. And you're now entering the Big Ten in a position that you are
lining up incredibly well for Oregon going into year 1 in the Big Ten.
You should be having the expectations of a Big Ten title championship.
You should.
Like, you should be eyeing that is the goal at the end of the year is to be in Indianapolis and playing for a Big Ten title.
Not only is Oregon peaking at the right time, you have got the other big dogs not falling off, but they're going to go through a cycle here. Washington is sending how many? 13 players to the combine?
13 players to the combine.
Michigan's
They're replacing
16?
Everybody offensively. 18 for
18?
Michigan.
So you're the 2 national title game participants are sending their entire teams to the NFL, essentially.
What I thought was really interesting, too, is that if you look at the Big Ten Conference as a whole, Oregon at 10.5 wins, the new guys to the Big Ten coming from the Pac-12, the other 3 are 7.5 wins or fewer.
Yeah.
Looking at 5, like you're looking at a 500 Big Ten record is what they're expecting for a school like USC.
Yeah, Washington and USC both coming at 7.5 wins. Eyebrows were raised that at Washington team that is losing 13 players at least, and their coaching staff is gone, and USC is at the same level. I went, okay. I know that the expectations were too high last year, but this one feels a little low.
Well, there's Lincoln Riley's comments this week about the coaching staff and how they're approaching building their
The development.
team. It didn't make sense because he was talking like a guy who was recruiting at a high level and was doing really well on the recruiting trail. And he hasn't been.
They've been doing just okay.
They have the 5th best recruiting class entering the Big Ten this year. And he was talking about developing talent, and stacking recruiting classes like Michigan has. And I kind of cocked my head and went, what? Because we're talking about the program that has been the second most reliant on the transfer portal over the last 2 years.
And they said they wanted to get away from that.
Only to Colorado. And he's talking about how they've been stacking their recruiting classes.
Where?
They haven't.
No.
They've been putting Band-Aids over bullet holes and not doing it very effectively, to be quite honest.
They did well. I would say they did it effectively year 1, not nearly as good year 2.
No, but that's where you go, these are the big question marks that we have here. And the turnover in the defensive staff, that should help. But their schedule is brutal like it is every year. But it is it's one of those schedules that you look at and you go, all right, 7.5 wins here. You open the season with LSU. You have road games at Michigan. You go in catching just everybody in the Big Ten. You don't play Ohio State, but you have LSU instead to open up the season. You go to Michigan. You have Wisconsin. You have
at Minnesota.
You have Penn State. You have Washington. Yeah, and then you also have Notre Dame at the end of your schedule. You've got a ridiculously tough schedule, and if you're looking at the 7-5 or 8-4, where if you have that over/under win total at 7.5, basically what Vegas is saying, you're losing all the tough games, and then you're going to be beating Utah State, Maryland, Rutgers, Nebraska, UCLA, and you got a toss-up game. That toss-up game is against Washington right there. They're saying you're gonna beat Minnesota, you're gonna beat Wisconsin, but your toss-up game is Washington. They're expecting you to lose to Notre Dame, expecting you to lose to Michigan, expecting you to lose to LSU, expecting you to lose to Penn State, which those are your toughest games on your schedule. And that if you are only
USC one of them they have at home?
Whew.
Penn State. Oh, and Notre Dame. Penn State, Notre Dame.
Penn State, Notre Dame are at home. You go on the road.
Yes.
Luckily, but here's the thing. Their road games are late back half of the season. They're not anything that you should be terrified about. Because
Washington's not the team.
You go to Washington in November, but it's not like I'd rather go to Seattle than Madison, Wisconsin on November 2nd. And you go to UCLA is another road game you have back half of the year. You don't have to go to Nebraska in the back half of the year.
And that UCLA road game is not a road game.
No, it's at the Rose Bowl. Yeah. It's going to be
totally fine.
Split down the middle there. USC and USC and UCLA fans. For the Big Ten, though, you look at it, and all of I saw Brett McMurphy had his college football playoff projections out for the 12-team playoff. The top is really stinking good in the Big Ten. Ohio State is going to be loaded. Oregon is going to be really good. Michigan at 9.5 wins, they're not going to be taking the step back that I think a lot of people are expecting them to, despite having 18 guys.
I'm going to push back on that one.
Going.
That's having that many guys going, and I know they have real depth. And look, I love the coaching hire, keeping it in the house.
Yeah,
all those things. You can't lose that much talent and have 9.5.
But also take into consideration they have Fresno State. They do have to play Texas. That's a big one. But they have Fresno State, Arkansas State, Texas as their non-conference, and they got a little bit of scheduling gifts with you have Minnesota, Illinois, Michigan State, Indiana, Northwestern on that schedule. And so if you look at 9.5, they're saying you're looking at a 9-3 or 10-2 season. And when you have Oregon coming in at home, you go to Columbus and you play Ohio State, and then Texas. They're saying those could be the 3 losses that they have there on that schedule. I don't know how good I could see them being 7-5. I could see 7-5 just as easy as 9-3.
But again, 9-3 is still under.
9-3 is under. I'm not taking the over.
That's what I'm saying. 9.5 is an insane line.
Not taking 9. I think it probably would have been better to be set at 8.5. there.
Yes, that 8.5 it gets dicey.
8.5, then you're talking.
Yeah, I can see him winning 9.
But Penn State is in that territory as well at 9.5, and they have year 3 with their quarterback, who hopefully he can take a step forward. But
And they're sending 5 starters to the NFL.
it's tough, dude, including your left
offensive
tackle,
linemen.
one of the best pass rushers in the draft as well.
Yeah, it's like, we sure about that?
But the way that you look at the Big Ten and the way they put out the over-unders, top is good and the bottom is bad. Purdue, Minnesota, both at 4.5 wins, and then you just have a cluster: Illinois, Indiana, Michigan State, Northwestern,
7.5 teams.
and UCLA are at 5.5 wins. But those are at 5.5. So you look at
the 5.5s.
you gotta have damn near half your conference at 5. It could go 5 and 7 this year.
They have
The
2
world
teams
needs-
under 5 wins.
The world
Minnesota and
needs
Purdue.
ditch diggers too, and that's the big thing that you have here. I'm stunned though that they see that there's a 1-game difference between USC and Rutgers though this year.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like, I know USC's schedule is tough. I'll not call me a homer all you want. I'm taking the over on that. 7.5 is just too low. It's just too low. 7.5 is too low.
I mean, you do have USC color glasses on at all times though.
But
But
listen, I'm totally okay with that. I'm totally okay with that.
I could see the under happening.
I can't.
I could see the under.
8 is, I think, the floor.
That was the other thing that I loved about Lincoln Riley is he said that Miller Moss, his preparation, the way he played in the Holiday Bowl, they didn't need to go after a quarterback, despite the fact that they put the full court press on Will Howard, who had committed from Kansas State to USC, and then looked over at Ohio State and said, "Nah, I'm going to go there instead."
Yeah.
They 100% looked at a quarterback in the
That's
transfer
the other part of
portal.
this where Ohio State is supposed to be this powerhouse, and Will Howard's going to be their quarterback next year. I'm just like, he's good, but
We do remember USC won 8 games last year, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes,
And Caleb Williams isn't coming back.
that is true. And nor is Brandon Rice or Marshawn Lloyd.
And moving
Or
to the
Alex
Big-
Grinch, though, and I think that's where USC thinks like Alex
that's the
Grinch is
win.
going to be Alex Grinch is going to be the guy. One I couldn't find on, although you can see kind of where they're headed at with their scheduling, is I could not find the Oregon State or Washington State over-unders.
The Pac-2 over-unders.
Yeah,
I don't think Vegas is going to put those out until they know exactly how those things are shaping up.
damn. I want to see what those are, because Oregon State, because of the 6 and 6, Oregon State, I know they lose Jonathan Smith. I know they got just raided in the
Gutted,
transfer portal.
yeah.
But if your schedule is not tough
And all of a sudden,
and you're playing
8 or 9 wins.
a bunch of Mountain West teams and you have Idaho State, Oregon, Purdue, Cal, and Washington State on the schedule, that's a line that I'm going to be very interested
to see
in
how that
seeing.
shapes up.
Absolutely.
See if that one shapes up as an 8.5 line.
Absolutely.
And then you start going,
Take that over. Take that over.
Take a little look at it. All right, coming up next, are you taking the over on Rob Manfred saying he's done in 5 years? Remember, Bud Selig did this not once, but twice. Manfred says he's out in 5 years, 2029 as MLB commissioner. What to expect in the next 5 years, and can he change his legacy? Coming up here on Danny and Dusty, Danny the Fan. It's the end of an era, or at least the beginning of the end of an era. Rob Manfred has announced that he will be stepping down as commissioner of baseball in 5 years, 2029.
Longer than George Kliavkoff made it.
Yeah, he's out.
He is out as the Pac-12 commissioner, and that's okay. We all saw that one coming. It's for the best. This has been a long road for George Kliavkoff, but for Rob Manfred, he has not had the smoothest tenure as Major League Baseball commissioner. And I think that one thing that we always forget is who are the bosses of the commissioners of all of our professional sports leagues?
The owners of the teams.
The owners of the teams. And which sport has the poorest ownership top to bottom of our big three sports leagues?
I would say it's baseball. But
It's baseball because you have at
not
least
particularly close.
You have no shortage. There's three just off the top of your head. You could say Oakland, Cincinnati, and Pittsburgh all have horrible ownership groups who've straight up told their fan bases, we don't care about you. We are going to do what we do, and you have nowhere else to go. So you will go and take in our product. And they've been right. You have teams like Seattle, which will say, we're pumping money into winning. We're going to build a championship roster. And then a year later,
stripping it down for nothing.
Strip it. Baseball's ownership is not in a good spot.
No, and then Manfred did not help himself by going out there today and saying some version of, yeah, Oakland, you lost your team, but don't worry about it. It's not a big deal. You still have baseball. You can be a Giants fan, which is unhinged to say.
Oakland and San Francisco hate each other. But
this is like telling Sonics fans, don't be Blazers fans.
But at the same time,
it didn't work.
Who he answers to is John J. Fisher and the rest of the other 29 owners in baseball. And that is the problem, is when you have to answer to the owners, you can't throw them under the bus because they're your bosses. And that's where the NFL has the strongest ownership of any sport. I mean, look at Roger Goodell. He was ruling with an iron fist. He got the memo from his bosses like, hey, dial it back a little bit. We know we're the ones that told you that this is what we wanted. Dial it back a little bit. And he has. And all of a sudden, Roger Goodell is doing a really damn good job of running the NFL over the last couple of seasons. Adam Silver continues to step in it. We talked about him with his NBAI, which everybody's like, who wants this? You know who wanted it? The damn owners wanted it. And so Rob Manfred, he's had a short tenure, but like Bud Selig, he said, I'm going to be gone in 5 years. And it turned out he held on for a lot longer.
He extended his contract a year later and then said it was going to be 5 years, and then he extended his contract for 3 more years.
And that was at a very tumultuous time for baseball, and they were trying to dig out of the steroid era and the steroid scandal.
Well, that's the same thing that's going on with Manfred here, is that they have another collective bargaining agreement that opens up in 2026. And remember, we just had a work stoppage not that long ago for the last of almost 100 days.
Negotiate that and start moving forward with the new guy, and hopefully you can cross your T's and dot your I's. But there've been a lot of disasters, and like the Nike Fanatics thing, that isn't Rob Manfred's fault.
No.
But it's on him, and now the players union is sitting there going, hey, we can't do this. We can't roll this out.
No, it's
players
awful.
Don't like it, fans don't like it, nobody likes it. What are we doing?
Fanatics likes it.
Fanatics does like
they
it.
do.
And that's probably it right now. I mean, and that's it. But you have to always remember, like in the Astros cheating scandal, he didn't punish anybody, and a lot of people got upset about that.
Rightfully so.
Like, yeah,
they gave immunity to everyone way too early in the process. But didn't even ask, hey, do you want to tell us without immunity?
But guess who signed off on all of that? His bosses. Yes. Because guess what? All the dirty laundry was going to go out if they didn't handle it that way, of all of the teams and what everybody was doing. And some of it still did trickle out, but people are just like, no, be mad at Rob Manfred. Pay no attention to what was happening elsewhere in the league, coming from an Astros fan. But Rob Manfred has not done a great job as a commissioner. Look at the ownership groups, though, because those are the people that force his hand in a lot of these situations and instances. If there's a work stoppage, I may take the under on 5 years if 2026 doesn't go well, because they'll run him off before they run off anybody else, because they'll be like, you're going to be gone in 2029 anyway. We need somebody to blame. We'll blame you.
And they have no one yet tabbed as his replacement.
Yeah.
So you can kind of just freewheel it, see what happens. Just some team president that just throw in there, and he'll end up being a short timer.
Probably. I mean, it takes a special person though to take the beating that commissioners do, and just to keep on trucking through it. Like Roger Gillick gets paid like $50 million a year, and he's like, "Yeah, I'll sleep fine.
Yeah,
you guys can use me as a punching bag." But the best commissioners, they take all of those blows and are able to just like a duck's feathers and waters.
Yeah.
Just let it roll right off.
The best commissioners also find ways to get things done.
Get them done.
In which Manfred did with the changes in rules, the pitch clock and the larger bags.
And those have been good for baseball.
Yeah, those were wins for him. But the legacy of Rob Manfred isn't going to be he got a pitch clock and
it's going to be the Astros cheating scandal.
Yeah.
It will.
Unless he does something drastic in his next 5 years to kind of put baseball, again, talking about television and where things stand, half their league. It's the same situation the NBA is currently facing, is wrapped up in the Bally TV stuff. So it's going to be interesting to see how that stuff shakes out. All right, we've had this one sitting on here.
Astros are going to be good this year.
I know
by
you
the
wanted
way.
to talk about this
They're
for a
gonna be
while.
good again.
Just because it's a fun little note.
Get ready, haters.
Is Patrick Mahomes the real life Kenny Powell?
Dude.
But first, here's the big good news sports and update.
Hamburgers, the cornerstone of any nutritious breakfast.
Now, from the Spirit Mountain Casino Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
This update brought to you by Big's Chicken. Try their smoked and fried wings tossed with a perfect dry rub and served with a killer trio of sauces online at bigschicken.com. First on the Fan, the Trailblazers wrapped up the first half of the season on the wrong end of a beginning-to-end whooping at the hands of the Timberwolves. They ended the break at 15-39 on the season. That is the fifth worst record in the league. ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski reporting the Blazers signing two-way center Duop Reith to a new 3-year standard NBA contract. Woj also reporting the Wizards and DeLon Wright have agreed to a buyout that clears the way for the guard to sign with the Heat after clearing waivers. Raiders quarterback Jimmy Garoppolo suspended 2 games for violating the league's performance-enhancing substance policy for using a prescribed medication without having a valid therapeutic use exemption. He will not appeal and will miss the first two games of the next season, although he is not expected to return to the Raiders. Round 2 of the Genesis Invitational from Riviera Country Club. Patrick Cantlay, 4 under on the day through 11 holes. That puts him at 11 under overall. He is 3 strokes clear of Luke List, Jason Day, and Mackenzie Hughes. They are all in the clubhouse at 8 under par. Cam Davis is through 12. He is also 8 under overall. Some other notable names: Jordan Spieth, 6 under par, 5 strokes off the pace. Tony Finau at 5 under. Scotty Scheffler, 4 under. Ricky Fowler, 3 under. Rory McIlroy is 2 under par, and Tiger Woods has withdrawn due to illness. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Jeff Rust, Spirit Mountain Casino Sports Desk. Spirit Mountain Casino, the place to watch and wager on pro and college games every week. Learn more at spiritmountain.com.
You're invited to play in the first annual Fan Winter Golf Classic at X Golf Tualatin and X Golf Vancouver. Sign your threesome up at 1080thefan.com.
to find a way to work this in around the parade and everything else this week, but obviously with everything that happened, unfortunately.
2 juveniles have been
Yes.
charged in the shooting at the Chiefs victory parade.
And I guess if there is any kind of good news in this is that it was not a planned
Coordinated
incident. It was
foreign
two-
or domestic terrorism.
Yeah.
It was a disagreement,
two
which
dumbass
is a bigger
kids.
is still a big issue. I mean, like,
Because it-
cannot be ignored.
Either way, you still feel like you can't go out in a big space.
100%.
Doesn't matter what the person firing the gun, what their motivation is.
They said 800 police officers were
Along the parade route.
along the parade route, mostly concentrated in that area.
And it was still civilians that took down the.
Yep.
Yeah, one loss of life and 22 others wounded.
Yeah, they arrested 3 juveniles at the time. They released one who said was not him.
Wrong
involved.
place, wrong time.
2 have been charged, and
And there are more pending charges coming.
no wins out of this.
I would
Yeah.
imagine these 2 kids are going to be locked up for a long time.
They should.
Yep.
They should.
You're a kid, but, at some point, that's where we are.
Yep, absolutely.
But on the brighter, funnier, lighter side of things, is Patrick Mahomes the real-life Kenny Powers?
No, so we started off with a party for us at the hotel. The Chainsmokers came through. DJ Khaled came through. In Seattle, I had the Spoon Man from the Soundgarden videos coming to my shit.
No way.
Oh, yeah. I'm talking 6 grills burning at all times. Tiki torches, 3 whole pigs, loads of macaroni and cheeses, baked potatoes, collard greens.
It's uncanny. I never put it together.
You can't split the 2 up.
That is first half Pat Mahomes,
Second half Kenny Powers.
second half Kenny Powers. Listen to this.
No, so we started off with a party for us at the hotel. The Chainsmokers came through. DJ Khaled came through. In Seattle, I had the Spoon Man from the Soundgarden videos coming to my shit.
No way.
Oh, yeah. I'm talking 6 grills burning at all times. Tiki torches.
How great is that?
It's insane.
Real life Kenny Powers.
Also, now you've ruined Kenny Powers for me.
No.
Eastbound down. Love it. Can't love Patrick Mahomes. Can't
Both-
love the Chiefs.
Both of them have curly hair up top, shaved on the sides. Kenny Powers got a little flow on the back, though. And maybe that's the next evolution of Patrick Mahomes' look, is that
Trying to
he
remember,
goes
does Kenny
full Moulet.
Powers have any really irritating family members?
No, he is the irritating family member.
right.
Well, coming out of the parade stuff,
Yeah, maybe Jackson Mahomes is Kenny Powers.
did you see the Jackson Mahomes story coming out of the parade thing?
No.
Like, apparently he protected, got a couple of kids, away and into safety at Union Station.
Don't
when all
make
this
me
was
like
going
him.
on.
Good,
I
good
know.
for him.
Yeah,
But
no.
the sun also shines on a dog's ass some days.
Yeah, there was Jackson Mahomes and Clyde Edwards-Helaire, who he took a 13-year-old kid under his wing and made sure he was safe
Shielded.
and okay.
Yeah.
But not just shielding him, taking him to safety and then talking to him and making sure he was okay. And I love what Clyde Edwards-Helaire, he tweeted out a thing about he suffers from PTSD from obviously something traumatic in his upbringing, but just about it's okay to talk about these things, and it's okay to be vulnerable and to make sure that you talk with other people coming out of situations like this, and that there is support there for you, and you need to use all of it that you can. Out of this tragedy, there are some stories, and there's an offensive lineman who had a WWE championship belt, and
Gave it to a kid.
There's a kid who was going through it, and rightfully so, made sure he was holding the belt and gave it to him so he could have something to distract him from that time of chaos that was going on around him. There you see all the stories of the first responders and the heroism that they had.
Yeah.
There was players and support people around the Chiefs organization though that came through, and out of a horrible tragedy, you do find some good stories like that.
Yeah, and you did see that Taylor Swift donated $100,000 to the memorial fund of the woman who lost her life, which she doesn't have to do. Look, she has all the money in the world, but you still don't have to do that stuff.
$100K is a lot of money.
Yeah, it's to just give $100,000 to somebody, regardless of how much money you have. That doesn't happen all that often.
No.
So, but yes, Patrick Mahomes is Kenny Powers. My God, that's
spot
the
on.
cadence. The
Chain smokers came through.
Did you see that the
Damn Spoon Man sound card?
Yeah, that one hits a little bit harder considering he committed suicide.
The Spoon Man did?
The lead singer. Soundgarden.
Oh, he's
Chris Cornell.
Yeah, Chris Cornell. But that was he's talking about the actual Spoon Man, the guy who played the Spoons in Seattle. Spoon Man was there.
I don't think that's what that means.
He was the
Spoon Man is the name of the Soundgarden song, but
no,
I think he's talking about
no. There's a man who played the Spoons in Seattle. That
inspired the song.
Inspired the song.
Oh, okay.
That is not. You're thinking Heroin.
Yes.
No. There's a man who played the Spoons.
There's a link to that though too. Is my point.
Yeah. Well, there was actually a Spoon Man that both Kenny Powers and the song we're talking about. Yeah. Who played the Spoons.
Hey, I'm not clear. Was there a Spoon Man that played the Spoons in Seattle?
There was. Yes. It wasn't just Heroin.
You know.
Right. Wrapping up the show on a Friday.
Heroin. Yeah.
He's just like, no, heroin.
Yeah. We're gonna find a way to work it in. All right, coming up next, we'll put a nice little bow on the show. We'll move from heroin to alcohol. Danny and Dusty, 1080 The Fan. Now, moving on from heroin and into the alcohol sphere, turns out Jason Kelsey was a lot drunker than we thought.
Whoa.
Which, if you've seen the videos, is actually quite impressive.
Yeah, we all knew, and he was like stumbling around, falling into planter boxes, and with Marshmello, the DJ up there, that he was loaded to the nth degree. And more power to you. You're celebrating your brother's
The man knows how to party. We were talking about it yesterday. You had mentioned that it sounded like Jason Kelsey just found the luchador mask on the ground.
That's what he said.
And he was just rolling with it. Well, it turns out he was taking some pictures with some kids and put the luchador mask on, and, well, it became his.
Yeah, there's an 8th grader who, I don't know why an 8th grader was at a club, but that's neither here nor there. It's Vegas. Apparently, he was with Jason Kelsey. He had the luchador mask, and it's a good luck mask. It's signed by Trent McDuffie, apparently. And Jason Kelsey's like, that's cool. Can I wear it for the picture? And they're like, yeah, of course. He puts it on, and he's sitting there. He's talking with the kids. And as the kid tells a story, they were there for about 5 to 10 minutes just talking with him and kind of milling around in his general area. And they were like, oh, this is cool because he's wearing the mask. We get to hang out with the guy, right? He just wanders off. Goes to places the kids can't go to, and then that mask is his. Finders versus keepers.
Yes, that
Finders win.
The finders always wins. That case has been settled.
Possession is 9/10 of the law.
And in this case, 10/10 of the law.
And now the kid is trying to find the luchador mask and trying to get it back.
Something tells me Jason Kelsey is going to get, number one, a mask and probably like a bowl signed by the whole
That kid is going to get a lot.
Yeah.
He's going to get a lot in return because he's going to feel real bad about that one. We've all had those moments where we wake up, we're like, oh boy, what did I do?
Let he who has not stolen a kid's luchador mask cast the first stone.
I bought mine properly at a little stand in was it Chapultepec Park in Mexico City. I got mine in the park off of a little stand.
I thought you were going to go with a particular Texas border town.
No.
Near a place called Jaguars.
No, it was not in Juarez. We did not find those masks. Found other problems. But
you wear a mask when you go there, so you cannot be identified.
Mexico City, I did not. I properly bought mine. And then my brother got one as well.
Mexico DF?
Yeah. And then we challenged our new brother-in-law and his twin brother to a wrestling match at the wedding reception, and we put our masks on.
Who won?
Well, obviously we did.
Okay.
Obviously.
Otherwise, you wouldn't bring it up.
No, I would not.
And that one time we put on luchador masks and got the crap kicked out of us at a wedding in Mexico.
It was great. It was great.
Did I just say medding in Mexico?
Yeah, you did. But that's okay. We'll push right through it. It's a Friday. It's a Friday.
That'll happen.
The official fart of stall. That's right.
That's exactly what I did. At least I recognized that my brain completely stopped working for 0.2 seconds.
That's right.
Huh.
That's right. I had another one the other last week. What was it? If the glove does not fit, you must acquit.
Oh yeah, the glove's not a
if the glove fits, you must acquit, and that was wrong. And then you guys said, "Want to do that again?" And I did it again.
And then they double down on it. That's
sometimes you just brain shorts out. That's all right.
Especially here on a Friday.
That snort.
That snort's great.
That's great.
It's a great snort.
That's a Danny snort.
That's why I said it's a great snort. I recognize greatness.
Is All-Star Weekend going to be okay?
No, it's going to suck.
Yeah.
I have no idea what this Rising Stars game is, like this quasi tournament, 4 teams. Like they just change it every year. The dunk contest is going to be meh.
Yeah, how do they do it with 4 teams? Do they throw all 4 teams out there at the same time with 2 balls?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the gist of it.
2 balls, 1 cylinder. Yeah. That's how they're gonna play that game.
That's typically what it is.
I can't take you anywhere.
No, you can't. You really can't. You really can't.
I was gonna say 2 balls.
All right, so our dunk contest.
Jaylen Brown,